This is Deep Waters with Deborah Waters. And indeed, no grief for anybody if they no grief for you. And that's the situation we're trying to deal with in the studio today on Deep Waters with Deborah Waters. We're asking big wedding or small wedding. If you get to a situation where your husband wants small wedding, you want big wedding, make una agree for it, and I don't want grief for una self. So wetin go come happen? You break up. I've seen situations where they had to actually split up because they can't move forward. Nobody won't grieve for anybody. As I don't talk for 2024, they no grieve for anybody, and now wedding no go hold because husband wants small wedding and wife wants big wedding. We're asking, should the wedding size be a deal breaker in a relationship? Let me know your thoughts on the topic of the day. Calling on 0705 993 6937 or 0705 993 7937. As always, I have a special guest with me in the studio. Super excited to have with me a lover of God. I don't usually add that, but I have to add this one because it's visible. A passionate educator, an educational administrator, an educational consultant, an entrepreneur, a life coach, a public speaker, an author, the founder of Kingdom Builders Mission and Kingdom Builders Heritage, CEO of W&R Integrated Services, author. She wrote Dear Future Husband, which has been an inspiration to many young people who are single and married. She also published a book recently in July 2024 called Queens, Becoming the Queen That You're Created For. This lady is so much more and more. With me in the studio, I have with me Blessing Efosa Igbenusa. Hello.
Hi, Debbie.
A woman of many parts. Aww.
It's so nice being here. Thanks for having me again.
Are you shy? You can't be shy. We always chat every week.
Thank you so much for having me.
She's been on the show before. This is like her second time being on the show. It's good to have you. It feels fresh. It feels like you're just coming in again. You look all pastoral and minister.
There you go again.
I'm joking. My guest for today is a life coach. Don't forget that. So she's going to be standing in the gap for us as we throw out those topics today. I can see calls coming in, guys. Just give me a few minutes. Let my guest land, and then I'll take more calls from you. Just keep your answers and your opinions and your thoughts. A comment. So yeah, Blessing, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And you?
I'm very well, thank you. So for you, would you a big wedding or a small wedding as a personally?
Firstly, I would like to say that the term big or small wedding is quite relative.
Okay.
There are some persons like what may be a small wedding to me might be a big wedding to someone else.
Okay.
And what may be a big wedding to me might be a small wedding to someone else. So I would like to state that the term big or small wedding is quite relative.
Okay.
And sometimes we might have a misconception on these terms.
Okay.
Are we talking about the financial implications to it, or we are talking about the size? Sometimes we say small wedding because we want a low budget wedding, and sometimes it's just because we want a very cool, cozy, private wedding.
Okay.
So it all depends on how we see these terms.
So what is small now in this small our own scenario that we are in this small little world of ours, in this deep waters, what is small, what is big? Let's look at in terms of size, in terms of number of people, and in terms of finances.
I think for most people generally they tend to take small wedding based on the financial implication and the size. I was checking up and I found out that a small wedding shouldn't be more than 100. So if your wedding is above 100, it means you have a big wedding.
Wow.
For me as a person, I would prefer a small wedding.
Okay.
I prefer a small wedding, and I do not have issues with big weddings because I'm an event planner.
Okay.
And that's where we get some of our money from. So there is no big deal having a big wedding. The only place it becomes a problem is when the size of a wedding becomes a deal breaker.
Okay.
It is so much of a problem. I feel for me, it's a misplaced priority when the size of a wedding amongst every other thing in this world should be a deal breaker for people who claim to be in love. So if I want a small wedding and maybe my spouse or intended spouse wants a big wedding, or he wants a small wedding, I want a big wedding, that's the point where understanding comes in and compromise. What are the reasons? Why do you want a small wedding, and why do I want a big wedding? We can actually come to a point where we come to an agreement, and you are happy, I am happy. For me, I believe that we should look beyond. I think our generation, we are more focused about the wedding more than the marriage. For me, I would say that the way we put so much effort and time into the preparation of just one event, if we should have the same intentionality towards building ourselves or our partners, we'll be having little or no divorce rates in the world.
But the marriage is still like, before you can even say a marriage will last, you have to give it like maybe 5 years. But a wedding is an event. Some people even call it a once in a lifetime event. Some will call it, I want my wedding, I just want to do it once. Any other ones will be an anniversary or something. So I don't think comparing wedding to marriage is even fair on its own, because marriage will take a long time for you to even look at and say, okay, this marriage will succeed or not.
The glamour of your wedding doesn't determine if your wedding would last or not, if your marriage would last or not. So I wouldn't want us to still shift our focus off marriage while we're talking about wedding. The reason why you want to have a wedding is because there would be a marriage. Now back to our discussion, if it should be a deal breaker. For me, absolutely not. It shouldn't be a deal breaker. It shouldn't. Size of a wedding, of all things, shouldn't be a deal breaker. There are so many other things that you may put into consideration for different people that may be considered as a deal breaker. But talking about the size of a wedding, and please, I'm not saying that having a big wedding is wrong. I'm not saying having a big wedding is wrong. If you have been blessed and you have the capacity, both mentally, emotionally, because big wedding is not just about the finance. You have the public on you. Some people, the reason why they don't want a big wedding, it's not because they don't have the finance to facilitate it. It's just because they are not ready for that emotional stress. 1 month your wedding is still out there, 1 year your wedding is still out there. Some people don't have that capacity to
But those are 1 in a million. Most typical Nigerians we have the capacity to take it.
Would you like a big wedding or a small wedding?
Well, for me, it still depends on a lot of factors. But in a situation where both parties cannot agree, before we even get to that, let me remind you, this is Deep Waters with Deborah Waters, and I am still here with my life coach of the day, Blessing Nefusa Igbinosa, helping us understand the topic of the day: big wedding or small wedding, and should wedding size be a deal breaker? In a situation where a man and a woman cannot agree on, if they should have a small wedding or a big wedding, and now they have to end the relationship because of that, is it worth it or is it not? Do you married people in the house, or you people are single thinking of marriage? Would you rather a small or big wedding? Let me know, calling on 0705. If you have thoughts and questions too for our life coach, calling on 0705 993 6937 or 0705-993-7937. I missed some of your calls, but now I'm ready to take your call, so please do us a call back. All right, let's take that call. Hello.
Good evening.
Hi, thanks for calling. Please walk away from your radio or turn it off. Thank you.
Okay, let me do that.
All right, good to have you. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, my name is Edward Campbell.
Okay, Edward, nice to have you on the show.
I'm calling from Ketu.
Okay, thank you so much, Edward from Ketu.
So, what my point is, which one is big and which one is small? Wedding is a wedding. If we now get ourselves together and went to Dubai to get the wedding done, and after 2 weeks the wedding is scattered, what is the meaning of being a big wedding or not? I don't understand the kind of life the women are living now.
Oh, nice or not, Sabi?
Of life.
What about you men that want to make money from wedding? You think it's only us?
Sorry?
I said, what about you men? You men too want big wedding these days?
I don't know about men that are looking for big wedding. No. What I know is wedding. So I don't think there is another name being attached to it.
Are you married, Edward?
Yes, I'm married.
Okay, so what was your budget for your wedding?
It was just a normal wedding.
What?
It was just a normal wedding, not being elaborating or shouting that it is a big one or two.
Okay, it was a normal wedding. Okay, cool. So you did not break your bank or break your account balance to have a wedding. That's what you're saying.
I didn't do that. I don't have to come and pay debt right after doing the wedding, and maybe because of wedding, I'll go and come for the idea or call whiskey. Is there anything for that?
But what is wrong with calling whiskey, though?
Someone might call whiskey. Someone might decide to call Jiva service because it's going to do a wedding.
What's wrong with that?
I don't think anything is wrong with that, but I see it as nothing.
Interesting. All right, Edward, thank you for sharing.
Thank you very much.
All right. The number to call is 0705 You know, when Edward said normal wedding, I was like, is there abnormal wedding too? I was thinking of that. Let's take another caller. Hello. Hi. Please speak louder. Increase your volume so I can hear you clearly.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's better.
Yeah, sorry, I'm driving, that's right.
No problem. Please drive safely.
Thank you so much.
All right.
The difference between wedding and there's difference between wedding and everything else.
Okay, lost that. Please do also call back. Obviously, he's going to. Edward says he does the wedding is wedding, so I'm happy to pick another call. So somebody who will tell us the difference between small wedding and big wedding. Anyways, Coach, please kindly react to Edward's thoughts.
I understand the perspective at which they are coming at or coming from. But based on the context of our conversation, we can actually differentiate based on either the population or the financial implication and say this wedding is a small wedding and this wedding is a big wedding. And as I said from beginning, I said it's quite relative because what's a small wedding to me may be a big wedding to someone else, and what's a big wedding to me may be a small wedding to someone else. I would also like us to attack the idea of celebrity culture. And I like the fact that Deep Waters is bringing this topic at such a sensitive period because you go on Instagram and we all are doing they'll not allow us to breathe.
Yeah.
I am so happy for every one of them. But in as much as they have had their time and their life, we should understand that there is something called reality. You are just, for example, a lady with an average salary for the month and you are dating a man with a good future, a perspective, and his salary is still average, and you want to have a celebrity wedding. What are your intentions? To impress who? To impress people who don't care about you? To impress people who don't even know you? To impress people who don't even seek your good? So what are your intentions towards this wedding of a thing? You can do your wedding, your pastor is there, or if you are a Muslim, your imam is there, or whosoever you want to be at your place of joining, if it's a traditional wedding, and you are good to go. What are your intentions? I think our generation should stop the idea of impressing people. You put in so much. That's why we have so many single guys out there. Not because most times they've not found the one they love, but because the one they love is claiming to be too expensive. You know, you're not even bringing something so tangible on the table, and you want the man to break the bank. You want him to use the only land, the only family property as a collateral to secure a good or big wedding for. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Interesting.
It doesn't.
Well said. I hear you loud and clear. You say, oh, we social media people, we are online, want to have online wedding, Now let's take it back to why. Why do we want to have this wedding? First, if we look at religious perspective, or you don't think some religions would celebrate. In fact, they will tell you that you have to bring some amount of money when you want to do some wedding in a certain church. 1, 2, the societal expectation. If you do your weddings quietly or silently, it's as if you have not done anything. It's to be as if you are poor, like maybe you don't have money. Your husband, no, it's like una no dey okay. Everything society. What about parents? Parents, you will say you want to do your small wedding, they will come for you and say no. Iya Risika and Iya Kasira, they have to come. I went for their wedding now, they have to come for this wedding. So even if I want a small wedding or my partner wants a small wedding, all these factors all around me makes it feel like I cannot even have that small wedding because everybody is pulling me left, right, and center. And again, what would they say? Be like, when you go and marry like that, they'll say, so when did you marry, really? You know, and all that. Thoughts on that? How do you deal with all those factors, dragging you left, right, and center?
The first thing I love to tell people is that you are responsible for your mental health. Because if you should allow the world to talk into you, you might end up losing yourself and losing your voice. You attend some weddings and you notice that these people are present in the wedding but they are absent because maybe they are indebted into, they took some loans and they are in debt, and they are there, people are eating and having fun, but they are thinking, how can I pay back this loan? You are responsible for your happiness, you are responsible for your decisions. I do tell people, nobody can force you into doing what you as an adult. If you are looking at the society or what people would say to make your decision on how your wedding should be, you shouldn't be married in the first place. It means you are not mature enough. Because even right after the wedding, in your marriage, there will be other decisions that need to be taken between you and your partner against the world. So if you cannot start right from the decision of your wedding, how would you handle those? You can decide after a year or two, for example, that you don't want to have a child. Would you say because of societal expectation, you would have a child when you don't want to? So let's start with dealing with our partners against the world. So even if my family wants, for example, a big wedding, and myself and my partner, we have an understanding that this is what we want to have, so be it. So I believe that parents will definitely come to your terms. I think most times is...
Listen, I think this thing is easier said than done. You see, I know they say, they'll tell you when we are doing that wedding. See, now marriage is for husband and wife, but when that wedding is involved, wedding is for family.
And God
we are
bless,
all getting married.
And God bless, I'm saying it online now, God bless those uncles and aunties in Jesus' name. You know, I feel that there are some things in our culture that at this stage and time should be limited. You know, most times when we have big weddings, especially when it comes to tradition, you see uncles and aunties. I attended one of my friend's weddings some years ago, and this girl, she lost her father for some years, and just the mom taking care of them. She worked so hard to train them through school, and she graduated and wanted to have a wedding. And all of a sudden, we start seeing uncles that were never in the picture. You know, I love the fact that she stood her ground and she had her wedding. She actually had a small wedding. And she had her wedding. She stood with her partner, with her mom, against others. Because this is me and my man. If my man decides to leave me because he can't afford a big wedding, and he goes over to, okay, I say it's a deal breaker, and he leaves me, the same village people, the same uncles and aunties will say I'm possessed. That's why I'm 35, for example, and I'm not married. So what really is our problem? So I feel personally that the size of a wedding, anyone listening to me right now, you're at the verge of breaking your relationship, sweet, valuable relationship, just because you want the intention is to impress the world. The truth is, you can never impress the world. The world have high expectation that you can never live up to. The day you live up to all the expectation of the world, maybe the day you will die.
But the big weddings always say is why do people feel like big weddings is always about showing off? What if that's what I want?
That's what I'm saying, that I don't see an issue with having big weddings. I love to attend weddings. I love to plan weddings. I don't have an issue with big weddings at all. Neither do I have issues with small weddings. My issue or my challenge here is when it becomes a deal breaker. When it becomes a deal breaker,
I totally
then
understand
off.
Yeah,
It means there is something wrong with the anchor at which your relationship stands.
I totally understand what you're saying. It's clear. I totally get it. But sometimes it could be that they can't say, it's as simple as they cannot agree. And so in that situation where they cannot agree, what happens?
Firstly, I would say that they should go and visit a marriage counselor, honestly. Because for me, I feel mature minds, I'm so sorry, there should be a point of compromise. One of them should compromise. If the man can afford it, and the girl is all out that I must have a big wedding, and you love her so much, and you know you have the capacity, to handle it, you can make her happy. But dear queens out there, if your man cannot afford a celebrity wedding, and come to think of it before I come back to that, do you know that most of these celebrities, their wedding is an avenue for them to showcase their brands? You don't have a brand, you don't have anything you are showcasing, and you just want your man to, why don't you invest that money into having a land or building a house? We see celebrities who have events and it's all big and all that. Sometimes they have people who sponsor them. People who wants to, I have this phone and I just want the world to know that I am the producer of this phone, because you are well known. I could come with souvenirs of this phone and say I'm giving about 100 pieces or 1,000 pieces to you because you've made an impact. So most times, all these celebrity weddings we see out there, it's not they funding it all by themselves necessarily. If I'm an event planner and a celebrity, as an event planner rather, and a celebrity wants to like get married, I will feel so honored to plan the event. I may not even collect, so to say, as much as I want my brand to
sell.
Yeah, so we should actually face reality.
Interesting. This is Deep Waters with Deborah Waters. You can call in now. So we're on to the last segment of the show, just a few minutes to end. So if you have thoughts and opinions and questions, you agree or you don't agree with what Blessing Igbinota is saying, you have thoughts or opinions, please do well to calling on 0705-993-6937 or 0705-993-7937. What are the pros and cons of having a big wedding or a small wedding? You know, would you rather a big wedding or a small wedding? Would you walk away in a situation where your partner and yourself cannot agree on what kind of wedding to have? If you say, I want a big wedding, I want a small wedding, when it becomes a deal breaker, is it a problem or is it not? You know, I feel like, as Blessing has said, you know, it shouldn't be a problem. But sometimes it is, especially if you now get married. I think the question we should be asking is, when I now do the marriage, would I be fulfilled? Like, would I be having regrets in myself? Would that be a way to know whether it's a deal breaker for you or not? You know, a situation where you say, okay, I give in, and then you get married, and then you now start having regrets, like, I wish I had a big, and you just don't feel. I don't know if you get what I mean.
I do, but well, individuals differs, and I would like to say for guys, if your lady wants a big wedding, seek to know her intention, because the truth is, if you satisfy her,
and as a man, if you want a small wedding, ladies, seek to know his intention.
Exactly. Yes, because some people want small weddings, some men want small wedding because they've done shit out there. And they don't want their sheets to be all around, all over. They don't want people to know that, I'm getting married now. Sometimes they even have a wife outside the country and you don't know. You know.
Now you are hitting the nail on the head.
So I think the intention.
Hitting the nail.
Yes.
Do you have a wife outside? Yeah. Why don't you want us to get married? You know, have a big wedding. Do you have a family outside?
Yeah. So the intention really matters. And if the intention of the lady for wanting a big wedding is because she wants her wedding to surpass that of her girlfriend who got married last year.
Interesting.
Then there is a problem.
All right, we have a caller. Let's quickly take another one.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Hi, thanks for calling.
Yes. Who big wedding you have or who small wedding you have? The thing is that it's not true now. I don't hear now the talk. I know sometimes, I understand the lady way they beside you.
You say big wedding until you go jam the babe. We go say you babe where you love die. We go tell you say na big wedding she wants.
Jesus.
Your eye go come tear say who he help.
See the thing we say, I'm a happily married, honestly.
Oh, you're married, right?
Yes, I'm married. Yeah, I got married to an Igbo person.
Okay.
To be precise. And you have to understand the family. You understand? If you are going to a wedding, you need to understand. There should be a cordial understanding between you. You understand? So I went. Even when I did my wedding, I invited my people. They all ate. As in like even took extra. Boom.
Yeah.
So
it's a big wedding.
No, I did a big wedding, but as in like I have to like borrow money and another thing like that.
You borrowed money?
Yes, I have to borrow from the bank now.
How much?
So if I should tell you, you'll be shocked.
That means you had a big wedding.
No, I did it. I did the big wedding. Yeah, I have to do it in a way that people will come and then eat.
Okay, go on.
At the long run, when I did after finishing my wedding, after about 4-6 months, I have to, go to my people and then meet them. I'm having some challenges. So, I'm just trying to try them. You understand? Just to see how they will react. Hello, are you here?
Yeah, yes, we're here. So nobody helped you.
So, nobody said, the money we'll get for the inside force. And we don't try use that
for they got your
Now they for high table, they drink wine. God will judge you now. Honestly, honestly.
So you didn't make any money, but I thought people did not spend on you.
People did this. I mean, people, even doing a traditional wedding in the village, people will just be counting. You know that kind of
Five
wedding.
naira.
Oh Jesus! Why is that now?
The friend, you want to go big like this, they will prayers.
You go to see where it is. You go to look. You go to look at where. When I find that, you do that. Oh, my shock! No, I don't. You see the best thing now.
So do you regret loaning money to do your wedding?
I didn't regret because I love my wife so much. Now I still love her.
Oh, so you broke the bank for that.
Even when I'm not financially buoyant, she stood by me.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yes.
Thank you so much for calling and for sharing. I appreciate it. All right. So this could be that the reason why some weddings or some things like wedding size is a deal breaker could just simply mean, I'm just saying, you can object to it or not, could just simply mean that you guys they don't love each other enough.
Yeah.
For you not to be able to come to a compromise, or if the man loves more, maybe the love is not that much. Because take the example of this guy now. I'm not saying he said he didn't have a big wedding, but he literally broke the bank. He literally went the extra mile. And what did he say? He said, because I love her. Do you regret it? Of course, you could hear some tingling of regret there that, I went back to borrow money, but nobody answered me. But do you regret it? No, because I love her. Could it be?
For me, yeah, you have a point there. There should be a place of compromise. However, as an individual, I don't believe anyone should borrow to do a wedding. As a person, I really don't believe anyone should borrow to do a wedding.
Why?
I feel it doesn't make sense. For me, if you should satisfy me as a lady,
because you think it's not an asset, it's a liability.
Why should we borrow?
Because you can make money. You can make more money. First, because it's a once in a lifetime situation. Once in a lifetime. 2, you can make money. 3, so that your enemies will not laugh at you and say, this is your wedding now, what are we doing?
Who enemies help? Do you know that even with a big wedding, there will be reasons for them to still throw things at you. They will still throw you at any given opportunity. I had a friend who did a very good wedding. To her, she said she had a small wedding, but to me, that was a big wedding. Yeah, but if she really wanted to do a wedding or have her wedding, it would be bigger than that. But she was quite understanding, and she said, she wanted a small wedding, and she had it. A wedding that I was present in, and I was like, whoa, this is beautiful. After the wedding, someone still said, that wedding, it was not nice.
Yeah.
And it almost got me crazy.
Like,
excuse me, I was not told about this wedding. I was present in this wedding. I even planned the wedding. And she said food that even people were eating, and we even had leftovers. So it just got to me at that point that
you can't impress human.
You can't impress any human.
Interesting.
So no one should, but please don't break the bank. And I think I should speak to our queens out there. Do not allow the decision of an event to stop you from being with a man who will love you for the rest of his life. A man who will care for you. There are thousands of guys out there that would give you your dream wedding, but would not give you your dream marriage. So go for your dream marriage and not your dream wedding. You guys can come to a compromise, but never allow it to be a deal breaker.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Blessing Efosa Igbinosa. You're speaking very well. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best in your upcoming wedding. I'm giving her a man. I gave her a man. Yeah, I gave her a wedding. Literally. How can people find you on social media?
Okay, you can reach out to me on Facebook, Igbinosa Blessing Efosa, on Instagram, official Efosa _Coach B, official Efosa _Coach B.
Interesting. She's into a lot of things, and even mentoring, spiritual things, writing. You can just be her friend, or even patronize some of her events and all of that. Thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Pleasure,
so all my callers and listeners, thank you for calling on Deep Waters with Deborah Waters. Deep Waters is live on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And of course, we'll be live on Wednesday at exactly 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. for another amazing show for you. Please do also follow at Deep Waters _podcast on Instagram. And if you want to watch a repeat of this episode, watch it tomorrow at 11:30 p.m. on Silverbed TV, DSTV channel 125, 252, sorry, on DSTV channel 252. And you can watch on YouTube too. Search for Deborah Waters to watch this particular episode. Thank you so much for watching. For myself and our life coach.
Thank you for having
and upcoming
me.
bride.
Thank you. Yes, I